Christ had a high view of marriage. He has a much higher view of marriage than many professing Christians today. And he held that high view of marriage against the competing schools of the Pharisees, both of which had a low view of marriage, which came out of their ungodly traditions. His view of marriage was no divorce except for one crime, which is adultery, and no remarriage. A strict, uncompromising view of marriage, divorce, and remarriage. And if you dare preach that today in the church world, you will be called, guess what? A Pharisee. And the irony of it is that the Pharisees had a different view of marriage. Their view of marriage was loose. Their view of divorce was open. It was this: you may divorce your spouse for any reason. Some may have narrowed it down to a couple of reasons, but most of them said any reason. If you don't like your spouse, you may divorce her. If your spouse is not a good cook, you may divorce her. And on it would go. And they brought the question to Jesus, and he said to him, may a man divorce his wife for any cause? They wanted to see which line would he go with the strict one or with the less strict one. He went with the hyper strict one, they would have said. He went with the biblical one. He took them back to Genesis 1 and 2 and said, have ye not read, and explained to them that marriage is a one flesh union which no man may break. Let no man put asunder what God has brought together. So the strict view of marriage is the Christian view of marriage, the view of Christ himself. The liberal view of marriage is the Pharisaical view of marriage, the view that the Pharisees promoted when Christ was upon the earth. Let's look at a couple of passages to prove this briefly, what Christ believed and taught concerning marriage. Mark 10. Mark 10, 11 and 12. Whosoever shall put away his wife, and here's a whosoever passage that all evangelicals should listen to. Whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another committeth adultery against her. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery. And that word committeth is in the present tense, which means that so long as that second marriage continues, they are committing adultery. They are going on committing adultery. Luke 16 is a similar passage. Luke 16, verse 18. Whosoever putteth away his wife and marrieth another committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her that is put away from her husband committeth adultery. So to marry a divorcee, in other words, is always, says Christ, to commit adultery. Matthew 19, verse 9 gives us an exception. There is an exception clause in Matthew 19, verse 9, to which many have clung, but they cling to the wrong part of the sentence. Matthew 19, 9. Whosoever shall put away his wife except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery, and whoso marrieth her which put away doth commit adultery. They would say, the advocates of a less strict view of divorce and remarriage, they would say that that means that a person, if he puts away his wife for fornication, and that's the only ground, then he can marry another. But that's not what Christ says. The exception refers to the putting away of a wife. In other words, the exception clause refers to the ground for divorce, not a reason for remarriage. Whosoever shall put away his wife, he would commit adultery, except in this case, except it be fornication. Whosoever shall marry another committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her which is put away doth commit adultery. There is no exception clause for the remarriage part of the sentence, only an exception clause for the divorce part of the sentence. And so avoiding adultery and fornication means no divorcing of your spouse for any reason except adultery, and under no circumstances except death of your former spouse can there be remarriage. So all of the other reasons offered for divorce are out, according to Jesus Christ. Irreconcilable differences is not a ground for divorce. Unreasonable behavior on the part of either spouse is not a reason for divorce. Communication breakdown is not a reason for divorce. Financial problems in the marriage, not a reason for divorce. Incompatibility, not a reason for divorce. Not according to Jesus Christ. Christ does not accept such grounds of divorce. He commands all husbands to love their wives and all wives to submit to their husbands. He doesn't allow divorce for any cause. He doesn't allow remarriage in his church.